Hello and welcome to the F5 Wash Bay, where today we are going to be washing this Mercedes van up in order to get it ready for vinyl. Which vinyl we are going to keep this black. All of the red that you see is going to go red again with a different type to make sure all of this fading is cleaned up and makes it look nice and new again, as well as this white that you see on the back is going to go red. All the black cutouts here, as well as on the front over here, are going to stay black. And so we just want to make sure we get everything cleaned up here, get it all ready so that the vinyl sticks properly and there's no trash underneath. So in order to make sure that we get this thing fully clean, I'm not going to go to super deep clean, but I want to make sure I can get all of the surfaces as clean as possible with this little residue on it so that I can make sure that vinyl sticks properly. So to start off, we're going to hit it with this Car Candy Ultra Truck Wash to get all the contaminants off of it with this foam cannon here. Once I get all that put on, let it sit for a little bit and rinsed off, we're going to switch over to this Bubblicious car soap, also by Car Candy, through that foam sprayer as well, and get that scrubbed up with this brush here. Once I get all that fully cleaned off, washed off, and rinsed, we're going to move on to the wheels with this Chocolate Thunder Plus, once again also by Car Candy. Make sure we can get those super clean. I'm going to use these brushes as well to make sure we can get all those super clean. So now that we've got the truck completely deconned with the truck wash, we're going to swap over to the Bubblicious and the brush. the entire body cleaned, it's time to switch over to the wheels. So now that the van's all washed up, there's still a little bit of residue left over from when the owner decided to try and buff it and do a little bit of wet sanding to refurbish the paint, although it didn't quite go as planned for him. So there's a little bit of compound residue left over all in the cracks and on some of the surface of the vehicle there, as well as some bug guts and some other stuff that just didn't come off with the soap and the brush. So we're just going to get the rest of that. I'm going to clean the entire vehicle by scrubbing it by hand and with a little bit of a brush to make sure I can get everything out. And the really hard to reach areas, I'm going to be using this detail brush here with our Car Candy Pro APC. AP stands for All Purpose Cleaner. And then on the main surfaces, I'll be using this rag. For the bug guts and the areas that just didn't want to get off and I can't get off with a rag, I'll be using this orange razor blade that is paint safe, along with this bug remover also by Car Candy. Both of these work awesome, and then with that scrub brush, I'm going to be using this bowl just to make sure I can keep everything lubricated. Since this part of the process is going to take a really long time, I didn't want to film everything, but I am going to focus on one of the really main spots here. We've got a lot of compound dust here piled all up on this plastic and going all the way around, as well as a little bit of bug guts on the mirror here and then spread all the way across. So I'm going to hit this main section, we're going to cut and then get all the way through the rest of it, and then we'll move on to the next step. Now that the van's all cleaned up, next time we move on to taking off the badges and sealing up the roof.